Do we need to start a different audio recording, Becky?
I think we'll be okay, but we can. There we go.
All right. I'm Chris. I was asked to talk about the changes in the SCI for this year. And so to just go over those briefly. And they take place in question 1A and 1B. Did you do that or did I do
I
that?
think I accidentally did it. I'm
Okay,
sorry. Well, not that.
yeah. So we're just gonna touch on it really quick. It shouldn't take us very long. 1A, the actual questions for 1A and 1B have not changed. They're the same. So 1A is if you or a household member was an officer or a director of a business or a corporation, then that you're going to place that business here. Remember that government entity and public body is not a business. Same with if you're at an unpaid 501c3. But if that doesn't apply to you, then you just click this square, this box, and it lets you, kind of cancels it all out. You can move forward. If you do need to fill it out, you're going to click on add an item. And we want to point out, again, that this is specifically corporations. And so that's what 1A is about. Once you hit that add item, it's going to bring you here.
Corporations or any other entity, correct? LLCs, LLPs, etc.
No. You want to go for it? I'll let you go for it.
These actually may be one of our legal concept, our legislative concepts, but 1A is officer or director, which would be of a corporation because they're the only entities that have the officers and directors. LLCs would go under 1B, which is any other business.
Okay.
However, we do take the stance that if you put it under 1A
Either
or
one.
1B, we're not going to get angry at you as long as you put it on one or the other.
So once with that answered, which is wonderful, thank you very much. Once you hit add item, it brings you to this page. This is not new. The information on there, you just put in the business name, the address. When you're putting the description, it can be very simple. It doesn't have to be super complex. And then you put your title or the title of who it's held by, and then the whom is who either you or the household member is. You place them there. So in this situation, I was saying that it was myself. All I got to put is myself. When you hit the save button, though, you'll notice that it's changed to save and add client. Once you click that, it's going to bring you to the add client page. Now, I thought I would be closer to the laptop, so I cannot read it from all the way down here. I'll walk my way down here and take Molly's spot real quick. Once it brings you to this page, it's asking if you have a client that is makes up 10% or more of the business that you just put in there's annual gross income. If you don't have that, you're going to click into this. You're going to click this box, and it's going to, kind of gray it all out, and you can return to the SCI report. If you do have someone that you can identify in that spot, then you get to go through the questions. Oops, wrong button. So the first question is, do they have a 10%? Do they make up 10% or more? And if you push yes, it's going to go through, right? So the next question is, do they have a legislative or administrative interest in you, or whether they do business with the agency that you serve, have done, or could reasonably do business with that agency? If that's yes, you're going to click yes, and it will populate the next question down. If you click no on that one, it will gray everything out and you'll return to the SCI report. The third question is, do you have a statutory duty to keep the client's information privileged or confidential? So this again, if you have that, you're going to click yes, and it's going to take you to the next one. If you don't have that, and we'll see this just in about 2 more slides, it'll actually just bring up the client information right away. You don't have to answer the questions. If you don't have to keep it privileged, then you're fine to answer those questions. If you do, it's going to ask you if you have formally requested to share that information. If you have it, again, it populates the next one down. If you don't have it, if you push no, It actually pulls up the client information, and we've been kind of talking about the best approach to go about this because it doesn't actually let you save what you've done and leave. So we're trying to work out what we do here. But for now, you wouldn't be able to save this page until you got that information or got approval to do that.
Oh, wait, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
You don't have to get the information, you just have to make the request.
Correct. And so make sure you made the request because the next question below it is, did you get authorization to give that information? If they've not responded or they said no, then you click no. And all you got to do at that point is click save and return to the SCI report. If you hit yes, then you can put in the client's information. And just like with the business, the information is just the client name, which could be a business or a client. And we'll cover that in a second. The address, and then the description of the client. Once you hit save, it's going to bring this up because we've seen this quite a few times now. It's going to ask you to confirm that all the information is correct. When you put in your signature, your name has to match the name of your account when you sign it. We've had a few people calling in saying that when they try to sign, it doesn't work. And that's because there's a middle initial in their account name and they're not putting it in their signature. So make sure when you're doing the electronic signature that those names match. And then you're gonna hit save and you're gonna go back to the SCI. So when we talk about, we use the word clients because it's probably the most broad word that we have for that spot, but it can be anybody who provides 10% of that business's total gross annual income with the economic interest of you as a public official, or has done, or could do business with that public body. So that could be an investor, it could be a relationship, business relationship, a legal relationship, a contract. It's not just specifically clients, it's anyone who makes up that 10% or more and has those other two things. 1B is going to be very similar to 1A. This is where it's all the non-corporations, the LLC, any DBA, sole proprietorship. Again, if it doesn't fit you, just click none. It will let you move on. If it does, you're going to add that to an item. And again, we're prioritizing these kind of businesses in this spot. And again, this is going to look exactly the same. Business name, address. You're going to put in the description of the business and who it's held by. Again, in this situation, I just said that it was my wife. This is not a real business, by the way. And so that's all you got to put in those situations. You don't have to put, held by, Alfred Romano's something, whatever. You don't got to put all that stuff in there. Just keep it really simple. Once you hit save and add client, this situation, we did not have to keep the information privileged. So it just popped up the client information right there. We fill it out, save it, and you are good to go. Again, if you don't have a client that meets that, don't press the no on, if you go to the first line and you push no, that gets kind of weird. Just click that box up there. It makes it 10 times easier. You save and return to SCI report, and you are finished with question 1. Any
Perfect.
questions about that?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
So the other topic for our little work session was a quick refresher on the commission and disclosing conflicts of interest.
Nice picture.
Perfect. So we're just going to do a quick overview of conflicts of interest, like Susan said. This is anytime you as a public official take an action, make a decision, or a recommendation that could or would be to the financial benefit or detriment of you, your relatives, or any business associated with you or your relatives. And then the certainty of that financial impact would determine whether it's potential or actual. Potential meaning that a financial impact could occur, actual meaning that it would occur. And so when we're looking at this, there's 3 things we need to remember to decide if something is a conflict of interest. The first being that we as a public official are taking an action. So if you are voting on a case whether to find a violation or not. And then that action has a private economic impact. So in that same example, you would be deciding if someone has sanctions for a violation. But the most important part is that this financial impact has to happen to specific people. So again, us as a public official, our relatives, or a business in which we or our relatives are associated. So for example, if it was your sibling, as a city council member that came before us, that could create that conflict of interest. Now, there are times there will be an appearance of conflict. So you don't actually fit all three of those criteria, but you want to be transparent. Maybe you worked with the city before, something like that. That is absolutely fine, and it's okay to want to make a declaration of that. So the first step, making sure we make that disclosure during public session. 2, clarifying that it is not a conflict of interest, but in an effort to be transparent. And then 3, if you need any help with the language, our team is happy to provide. We just want to make sure that, again, we're being transparent, showing that it's not a conflict of interest, but we do want to, show that transparency, and maybe you do choose to recuse yourself. That's fine. The most important part of this is whether it is a conflict of interest or that appearance of conflict of interest. It has to happen during public session, not executive session. If we were to go into executive session and then someone tried to make a declaration, we'd have to come out of executive session, but then we need to notify the public session. So it would create a mess. So just to be really sure that if we do have any declarations, whether a conflict of interest or an appearance, we are making it during public session. And then just finally, remembering that with a potential conflict of interest, once you make that declaration, you are allowed to participate still. But with an actual conflict of interest, you would not be able to participate on any voting, discussion, or debate of that specific agenda item. So anything I missed?
You didn't miss anything.
Perfect.
That was it.
Do you have any questions on that? I think we all pretty clear with it. So perfect. Nice.
All right,
Okay. Is that it?
that's it.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We are hereby adjourned at 12:47 p.m. Thank you for your participation today, and I will be there in person next time. So thank you.
Ooh, that's exciting.
All right. Thank you all.
You all.
Thank
All right. Have a great spring break.